Camp, nothing really changes for us. The practices will be the same. The only thing is we'll have them in the building a little bit longer because now we can watch practice afterwards, clean up the corrections here in the building, and then we'll have a couple of meetings after that. But really the practices are pretty much the same. So really just trying to clean up everything that we've had the first couple of weeks, and what we've had in phase 2. We're looking to eliminate mental errors. That's the big thing. That'd be the focus for our guys. But questions?
You talked last week about you doing some more red zone stuff and doing some of those things this week. When you looked at the cut-ups of the red zone last year and some of the struggles you guys had there, what was the biggest thing that jumped out to you that you said, hey, we got to do that better this year if we're going to be a better team overall in the red zone?
Yeah, well, the first thing I looked at was we got to score touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a number of things, Tim. There's a number of things. Defensively, some of it, we got to apply pressure up front, which there's a number of things that falls into. That is coverage and rush. We offensively, man, I would tell you that we shot ourselves in the foot a ton. We got down there, and penalties were crucial. Hell, we got down to Atlanta 3 different times and backed ourselves right out of there with penalties, those are self-induced. So just a number of little things that we have to clean up. But I think that's what this time of year kind of helps you with, too. At least it gives you a starting point on things that you've researched. We've looked at other teams, some of the top teams in our league, offensively, defensively. You take some of what they do, and do you feel like it's things you can do with your personnel? And this is the time to find out a little bit. And if it is, then you continue during training camp. If not, you dump it and you look for the next thing. But, so that's kind of where we're at.
Give us an example of that, just something that maybe you looked at from one of the other teams that you've looked at so far this spring?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it is like defensively. Not a lot of it. It's offensively too, but I think just the mix of our coverages a little bit, and you don't have to live in all the worlds. There's a number of teams that, some of the better teams. I mean, Seattle for years it was, man, this is what they do. They know exactly what they do. They know their own weaknesses, and good luck trying to exploit them. Even though where the holes are, so do they, and they're really good at it. And then some other teams were, man, they mixed up their coverages, and you could never get a good beat on what they were. And so I feel like some of that was, man, you kind of hang your hat on what we have this year and what we used. But man, when you look at what Kansas City's done, when you look at kind of what Baltimore's done, when you look at some of these teams that were, look, Cincinnati did some really good things. So just I think subtleties in what you do coverage-wise. And then there again, so much of it is predicated on your rush too. It makes a huge difference. So, but yeah.
I think a few of us, including myself, have asked you how you maybe have altered your approach this offseason from your first year, but where do you get the sense that this team is better at this stage of the year than it was a year ago? Is there any way that you can quantify that?
I think I told AG this morning, just sitting in there in the defensive room, and he's going through some of the things from last week and cleaning it up, and then talking about this week. And there's things that are being taught now that are we're just to a little different level. We're at a higher level right now. We're kind of beyond. Some of the more remedial things that we had to do last year because we had just come in. It's a new system and it's everything. We're all trying to figure each other out, and so now it's now that you guys know what we're doing, these players know what we're asking them to do. It's just, man, we're just at a little higher level. Intellectually as it pertains to football, which is a good thing. That's really on both sides of the ball. That's where I definitely feel it right now. And then let me say this: our energy level, energy was good last year, but we are. I feel like we're these guys are really competing and flying around out there, and you know, and look, we've got some of our young guys are a little more developed. We got a little bit more talent, and you know, the more talent you have, the better you make the other talent around you, and they just kind of push each other. So I would say those two things I do feel and do see, you know, relative to last year.
We've had a chance to evaluate Jared Goff for a couple weeks. His passes look crisper, seems to be a little bit more comfortable. Do you guys get a sense that he's more comfortable now in his second go-around with you guys, and how that can help him moving forward this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I have no red flags with him. You know, he looks good out there. He's got a good grasp of our offense and what we're doing, and you know, he's commanding the huddle. You know, he's throwing the ball well. That's something that I feel like he does well. That's one of his strengths. He's a pretty accurate passer, and so I would say up to this point, he's having a good spring.
Yeah, Coach, Lynn McNeil's one of those young guys you might have been talking about. What have you seen in his progression and how this defense fits in, or how he fits the defense?
Buttercup, he's a stud. Listen, this guy, he's been here since day one, and since day one, and shoot, man, he's arguably the strongest pound for pound player that we have, and we've got some strong guys on this team, but he's definitely up there and works his rear off, and so I'm bubbling about him. So now give me the question again.
No, just where do you see his progression, you know, and
Yeah.
how he fits this defense, and how he fits in?
Here's the thing. We really feel like Mac has got more versatility than maybe, you know, than what we thought may have appeared when we drafted him. We really like the player, but I know last year once we got him here, we were, man, this guy's got really good feet. He moves well, and then just watching his transformation through the year. And watching him grow has been good. And I think some of the things that we are doing defensively, a little bit more of this attack, are going to serve him well because he's got a quick first step, he's got real good feet, and he is powerful. And so when you're built the way he is and has, you know, kind of has the tools that he has, he could be somewhat problematic for an offensive line. So, but he is progressing well, and you know, he's another one of those guys. You know, I look at him. He's one of those guys at the core of our team. You know.
There's something about that. You've got a lot of young defensive linemen that you've drafted in the last couple of years. How can you see them becoming, you know, sort of a force on your team as they mature together?
Well, I think that's the idea. You know, I think that's what you want. You want this young core to continue to grow and develop, and then we're looking back here this year, next year, the year after, and these guys are a terror in the league. You know, and they're a D line that nobody wants to face, and you know, because yes, they do have talent, but they're also relentless and they're smart and they're hardworking, and so yeah, I think that's the idea. That was kind of the vision that Brad and I had, bless you, the whole time.
Ties into what Justin asked, but there's a little bit of a buzz about you guys right now. Just you seem to be kind of a popular pick for, you know, people looking for, you know, that team to go from worst to first and, you know, take a big step forward this year. What do you sort of make of that talk? And do you embrace it in the locker room? Do you guys talk about it at all?
No, I mean that's yeah. I don't, you know, just take it as it comes.
You mentioned with Goff, there's no red flags. He's been an accurate passer. Is it? Can you sense anything from him as far as where he's taken a step forward? I know it's just the off season. He does off season work and all that, but where has he taken a step forward from early on at least? I
would say this. I just know physically from this time last year, he is. I feel like his feet and his procedure is quicker than it was, and you know, Ben and Brew are doing a good job of really pushing him and pushing his fundamentals and just really honing in on that little stuff that, you know, sometimes you get so enamored and so worried about the scheme and where the ball's supposed to go and some of those things that sometimes you forget about the little stuff, and we felt like that was going to be vital for him. Let's hone him back in on his fundamentals and get him to play a little bit quicker and finish through with his throws, but get his head around, flip his hips, just some of these things, working to his left. And I feel like those things have shown up, and I do see improvement there right now.
Panay seemed to really gravitate to Vaitai during his rookie season. Big B is kind of a quiet, public-facing guy, but how valuable was he in that early mentorship of getting Panay to understand the needs to be a professional?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was big. I mean, those guys would go and drink kava together at night, and no, listen, it's been good. It's been good because Big V he's kind of a calming presence. He is smart. He's a veteran guy. He's been there, and so that was somebody that he did gravitate to early, and that did just kind of help him along the way, and so they have a great relationship, but really so does that whole line does, and they do hang out a lot, but he's been somebody that I know that he's taken a lot from, and asked a lot of questions, and has helped him along the way. So it certainly is vital.
Can we back up? Buttercup nickname, where did it come from?
I love giving Mac nicknames. He's a character, He is.
Is anyone absent or excused this week?
Yeah, the only one would be probably Penasini, and I'm going to see him tonight. And other than that, everybody's pretty good. There'll be some that you'll see that are practicing, some aren't, and some of those are just little nagging injuries. Some of them, other things that maybe come up, but that'd be about it.
John, because he hasn't been here.
Yeah, I know what's going on with him, so he's good.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Was Winkleton last year?
Yeah, I'll be back.